What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of The Stand, Episode 6, The Vigil. Now, before we begin, hey, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell top to find what's coming next. If you like the video, awesome, hit that like button, as well as commenting below any video you watch, including this one. Okay, I will admit, I actually kind of enjoyed that episode. It wasn't great, but it was much better than the episodes that we have been given in the past. The reason for that is because we're at a point where the series should be, which is the getting close to the walk and the stand. It's amazing to see what happens when you try to follow the book to at least a little bit of a T, because this episode kind of does that. And basically this episode is kind of two halves, like most of these episodes have been, but we get the stuff in Boulder, but it's very small pieces, but it's very important pieces to what will eventually become the walk to Las Vegas, or New Vegas as you're going to call it. And the stuff there I'll get to in a minute, but the stuff in Vegas I thought was it was fun, it was entertaining. The problem, though, is there's no real kind of structure to anything in Vegas. It's just Randall Flagg being a nasty human being. And we finally get the trash can man, who unfortunately is played by Ezra Miller, which, you know, is another very problematic individual when it comes to becoming an actor and his kind of private life and stuff like that. And once again, I don't think the series knows how to handle mental illness, because what Ezra Miller is doing in this episode that he finally gets introduced. It's been, you know, a character that should have been introduced long ago but hasn't been. But anyways, we see him and what he is known for doing, which is blowing up stuff and jerking off the stuff and stuff like that. It's how his character is written in the book. Of course, I don't think we're gonna get the kid, which is the Marilyn Manson character. And the way he's played, I get what they're going for. I get the mental illness part. I get that the trash can man was a very abused individual, especially before the captain trips. But the way Ezra Miller is playing him, it's so awful. it's so awful. It's like, it's another one of these characters that has no real kind of structure to him. He's just a character that is played for almost like laughs a little bit. His My Life for You is not, it's very soft spoken. You know, he does a lot of screaming in this episode. I do like the physical stuff they have on him, like the burns and stuff like that, which would make a lot of sense for somebody who's been burning and blowing up stuff and so on and so forth. But it just, I like the trash can man. I like his eventual arc and how he basically destroys Vegas with a nuclear weapon, and this is kind of the laying the pieces for it. And I don't hate this as I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't hate as much as I hate what Brad William Henke is doing with Tom Collin, but it's pretty bad. It actually takes this episode would have been an 8, but because of this character, it's like a 7.5 now. To be fairly honest, his character kind of almost ruins the episode, which is not something I want to even kind of admit. You know, Nat Wolff's character is very grating in this series, you know, as Lloyd Henry. And it's just, I almost just want to watch the people in Vegas do their thing instead of watching these characters. It's really bad. But the thing about Vegas that's unlike Boulder is it's very unique. It's very different. It's very uncouth. It's very, you know, Moses and stuff like that, where, you know, these people are, you know, having sex and, you know, doing all kinds of evil stuff. And it's very much like Ten Commandments style work, where the Randall Flagg character is the guy like corrupting everybody and so on and so forth. And like, once again, Alexander Skarsgård is the standout of this whole entire series. He's just so much fun as Randall Flagg. He's having so much fun as just that devilishly evil, you know, conjuring of magic. He's a magician. He's, you know, Mordred or something like that, as he calls himself, Legion, which is something he calls himself in the book. And, you know, it's really fun to watch a person like Alexander Skarsgård and what he is capable of doing. Him and his brother in the Stephen King universe have created some amazing character villains and stuff like that. And it's just, I love what he's doing here. I love how menacing and kind of conjuring he is, and how he can go from like super like fake with his, like, you know, niceness to being very evil. Clifton Collins Jr. pops up in a cameo role as Bobby Terry, which was played by Sam Raimi in the original series. And I like what he does in this episode, for even though he's not really a major player character. He is the one that kills the judge in the book, I think it was. But he pops up and he has killed the second person that has come from Boulder, which is the old woman. And because he's one of Flagg's henchmen, Flagg has made it very, very clear to not kill this woman because he wants to sacrifice her, like on a cross or something like that. But Bobby Terry, being the person that he is, doesn't listen to Flagg, and he ends up killing her. And he basically gives Randall Flagg the middle finger instead of apologizing. And it comes to the realization of Bobby Terry that he is screwed up, and he's trying to run away before Flagg gets to him. As we all know, Flagg has the ability to transport and materialize in whatever location he wants pretty easily. But he gets in the elevator. Bobby Terry gets in the elevator, and Flagg basically murders him in very gruesome fashion. And like I said, I like Clifton Collins Jr. He's just not given much to do like most people, but he has like the most fun death in the entire series. So I thought it was a lot of fun. And like I said, the small moments that Alexander Skarsgård's Randall Flagg has with the characters, and later on in the story we see Mother Abigail. She's walking through the woods and he kind of confronts her and has this whole thing, and that's where he comes up with Legion and stuff like that. And he's running circles around everyone else. It's so sad to see, like, even Whoopi Goldberg, who should be amazing in this series, he's like running circles around her, and he's just making her look like really plain and boring. And I don't know, maybe that's why Randall Flagg's character is so kind of fascinating and one of the great villains in literature history, is just for that simple reason. But he almost kills Mother Abigail, and of course Mother Abigail needs to come back before she truly dies to send everybody on the walk and the stand and stuff like that. So, but after he's done his whole murder of Bobby Terry, he he basically figures out that one of the people who is in the cleanup crew in Vegas is the other spy. And the only reason he knows that is through the MOON, which is a very famous line in The Stand. And he goes to he sends his minions to confront Tom Collin, but Tom Collin has somehow gotten the idea of hiding in the dead bodies to escape the Las Vegas, because he knows his time's up and he knows he needs to tell the crew and stuff like that in Boulder. But it's fun to see Tom Collin escape and stuff like that, and you see the big moon, and you see him, get out of the truck and stuff like that. This is the point where he's gonna wander through the desert until he comes across Stu, which I'm assuming is what's gonna happen. Stu's gonna break his leg or injure himself, and of course, Tom Collin's gonna find him, nurse him back to health, take him back to Boulder, all that good stuff. But that's pretty much it on the Vegas stuff. It's fun, it's entertaining, but it's, once again, you're introducing characters like the Trash Can Man very, very late into the story. The Trash Can Man doesn't really have a lot to do, but he's important to the kind of conclusion to the whole story of The Stand itself. So it'd been nice to see a little more of the Trash Can Man and his kind of back history. But once again, this is Josh Boone and Benjamin Cavell's The Stand instead of Stephen King's The Stand. So a lot of stuff has been thrown out the window for time and condensity, and it shows. It suffers because of it. So, but like I said, this episode is not nearly as bad as the last few episodes, just for the simple fact of we actually have the point in which the story needs to play out, where all these pieces are starting to fall into place, the conclusion's starting to come up quickly, and the ideas of what these characters need to do is finally starting to happen. But because of everything that's happened before it, this feels like an anticlimactic point in the story that just doesn't feel completely whole, and it just feels like it's its own condensed story just left out in the middle to die, and that type of thing. So this is the point where we basically start to kind of 180 the story, or kind of twist and turn the story, where Harold Lauder has officially built the bomb. He's given it to Nadine, who has put it in a cylinder, or in the actual piano, which I don't know how he got into the piano, but it's in the piano. And basically, Franny, who once again is just a terribly written character in the series, has always been suspicious of Harold as he's lived in Boulder, which if they had actually fleshed out the story, it would have made a lot more sense. So she breaks into Harold Lauder's house. She breaks into the basement, which Larry Underwood did not do. And she finds the monitors, which is giving her kind of clues to what's going on. And then she breaks into his like work area where he's built the bomb, and she realizes what's going to happen. Harold Lauder ends up, as they do in these types of stories, he pops up in the basement, figures out that she's figured it out, and we get this story of how he feels like he's been mistreated by Franny Goldsmith and everyone, how he's been kind of, put down and stuff like that his whole entire life. And even after the whole Captain Tripp stuff, he's still been kind of put down. And it is true, Franny was not very good to him and stuff like that, but he's kind of been a creep and so on and so forth. And so he locks her in the room. He's going to blow up and kill all the people at the Vigil because, of course, Mother Abigail has disappeared. And she finds a way to escape, of course, because there's a window. He doesn't think that put bars on the window or something like that. And she goes and runs to try to tell Stu and the rest of the people that there's a bomb in, of course, Mother Abigail's house. And then there's a whole not confrontation, but the whole kind of end point where Nadine and, of course, Larry Underwood will have their kind of peace. And they'll probably won't see each other ever again. But in the process, Larry Underwood is very suspicious of Nadine, and Nadine basically sabotages his motorcycle and his walkie-talkie because she cares about him a lot, which is an interesting story arc. She really does care about him. She wants him to live and stuff like that. She calls him one of the good people. And she leaves, and she brings Joe to the child center, and then she, of course, walks away to where she's going to meet Harold Lauder to blow up the bomb. And this is going to be the kind of point where they go off, and of course Harold Lauder probably ends up, I think, dying in the next episode most likely. And everybody's going through the house, and then Joe finds Mother Abigail as he does in the book. And basically Nick Andrews, as we know what's going to happen, is the last person to leave the house as Franny Goldsmith is running up to warn them of the bomb. He sees the brown tube that Nadine has put to the side, and he looks into the piano, and he sees there's a bomb, and that's when, of course, Nadine and Harold Lauder set up the bomb, and basically kills Nick Andrews, taking him kind of pretty much out of the story, outside of a couple of things that he is like as a ghost. But in essence, Nick Andrews, who is one of the most underwritten characters, who's one of my favorite characters in the book, has given pretty much nothing to do in the entire story. 6 episodes that he's actually he's like 3 or 4 episodes that he's in, but he's in a good portion of the series, and his death is so kind of meaningless because there's no plot development to his character at all. Outside of the small pieces that we saw with him and Tom Collin, it's just the fact that when he dies, and there's no feeling of justification, there's no feeling of remorse, there's no feeling of anything that he's dead. He's supposed to be he's that character that's important to the story and to the idea of what the Stand is. He was the guy that was going to take on Randall Flagg and the Stand itself. And here it's just nothing. I felt nothing about his death. I felt nothing about his kind of exit out of the story, and it was very heartbreaking to watch because I love his character so much. I love the idea of who Nick Andrews is and how he represents the ideas and ideologies of what this book is trying to present, which is about hope and good versus evil and people who have true life in them and stuff like that, which is what Nick Andrews has. And I don't know, it was just a rough thing to watch. And of course it ends with them looking on, the Harold and Nadine looking onto the the world above, and the bomb going off and so on and so forth. So I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's very much where the story should be at this point, where the story should be in these episodes. But I'm giving it a 7.5 because I was very entertained by the episode. But I should give it a lower score because in the essence of what has happened before, like I've already said, the simple fact that the story doesn't like the pieces, it's like a jigsaw puzzle or a puzzle you put together, and you get to the last few pieces, and some reason the pieces don't seem to connect properly. It's that type of story where or like building blocks or something like that, where it's just actually, what, it feels more like Jenga, where you're taking the pieces out and it's so wobbly. You got to the point where it's so wobbly that it just doesn't feel like a truly whole story. And when you get to the points where you need to get to, it feels like there's something missing. Like there's like no logical reason where they got to the point where they got. and it's a very tiresome miniseries to watch. It really is. It's not the fact that I'm recording this at 6:40 in the morning. It's the fact that, you know, you sit here and you're just baffled by the story decisions and the ideas and ideologies behind what Josh Boone and Benjamin Cavell have done. And there's no reason for it at all. You know, once again, I keep saying we're proving that, you know, sometimes, you know, Stephen King needs to have a little more like iron fist on his stories, because yeah, it doesn't work. So, but like I said, I'm still giving it a 7.5 out of 10, because it's still one of the best episodes in the series, and actually gives us some interesting, entertaining moments. But it just doesn't do enough to justify even keeping going in the series. But we're only 3 episodes out, so from the conclusion to this whole entire series. But yeah, that's it. That's gonna be my take on The Stand, episode 6, The Vigil. Like I said, it's could be better, could be worse. Still better than the last 5 episodes. So anyways, let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode. So anyways, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button, join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top of the panel. It's gonna be nice. If you liked the video, awesome, hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.